Good morning and welcome. Already been a productive morning. I've been and dropped my car off at the garage for its MOT. So, been out and about already this morning. But welcome in. Lovely to see you. Do pop on and say hello if you're here with us live this morning. But equally pop on and say hello if you're coming in at a later point. Good evening, Hannah. I thought you'd already gone to bed. Hannah's just come off a night shift. So I thought she was already in her pyjamas and on her way to bed. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Beryl. Morning, Caroline. So I thought today we'd do a bit of hybrid. So if you've caught up, you'll have seen that I did my what's in the box video on Friday. I did lots of videos, messaging, zooming, all sorts of things on Friday. I seem to spend all day in front of the phone. But one of them was my unboxing, what was in the box. Of my new pre-order stuff. So I've sneaked in a few new pre-order things today, but also got some things also highlighting something that I bought last week that is a bundle that is carrying over that I grabbed while it's still at bundle price, and that's this silhouette scenes and the sweet silhouette dies. So we're going to have play with those this morning. Morning, Emma. So have a play with those, and we're going to sneakily sneak in a few new things as well. We will not be offended, Hannah. We will take it that we have soothed you off to sleep, and that is absolutely fine if you nod off. And we'll take that as but I will consider that a service well done. So the silhouette scenes, as I say, this is a bundle that's in the current catalogue. It's carrying over to the new catalogue, but not as a bundle. So it's like, oh, I do want to get that, so I will get that now while I still can as a bundle. And I'm actually planning on creating in the post stamp stack with this stamp set bundle over, so that's something that's on my to-do list this week, and to get those card classes up and so people can get booking onto them. What I have decided is obviously all this doing new things online and all these sort of things in this new environment that we're in is relatively new. Most of my classes have been face-to-face up until now, and what we did find last month was that the post was a little bit unpredictable because they were completely overwhelmed. And at the moment, our orders coming through from Stampin' Up were slightly unpredictable because they've had problems at the warehouse. So I thought what I would do is I will issue your classes and they will go up. It may not be by the end of today because I've got a busy day today, but by the end of tomorrow, hopefully those classes in the post will be online. I will give you a cut-off date for ordering them. I will then order the supplies, get the supplies, create the kits, send them out, and once I have confirmation that everybody has their kit, at that point we will put a date in the diary that suits everybody when we can do the class, because last month we were wiggling and changing dates and doing all sorts of things all over the place. So I feel that might be the best way, is to have your booking date, everybody book by this date. I'll order the kits, make up the kits, get them sent out to you. Then once they're in everybody's hands, we can make a date, and then that way we'll know that everybody is raring to go on them. So that's my plan. We'll see if that works. Okay, and I also have tentatively said that I will do another bingo night towards the end of June. Beginning of June is going to be catalogue launch, so end of June I'll do another bingo night. So likewise, if that's something that you're interested in, look out for that date. I will check my diary, I've got such a busy social calendar, and pick a date that looks good for doing another bingo night at the end of June. So that's enough admin. Let's get into some crafting. So hi Jane. So as I said, a bit of old, a bit of new, a bit of hybrid we're going to do today. But these are all new to me. So as I say, these arrived in my box, although I didn't show them on my unboxing video. These arrived in my box last week, so I haven't played with them yet. But that's the plan for today. So what you get in this bundle is you get these really nice silhouette dies that obviously are calling out to be stamped in black. But you don't have to stamp them in black. They could be any colour you like. But what they do give you is a real nice opportunity to do wow backgrounds, and then to sort of stamp these in the front. You get to play with your backgrounds a little bit. Some really nice sentiments in here. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Together is a perfect place to be. Keep dreaming, you inspire me. Life was meant for good friends and great adventures. So really lovely, and some really nice sort of children images in there as well. You know, very definitely echoes of my own grandchildren in there. So that's the stamp set, and then the die set you get this nice big tree that obviously cuts out again as a silhouette. You get this lovely wispy dandelion, and then you get these three greetings. So one says forever, one says inspire, and one says adventure. And they're really fabulous actually for making, they'd be really fabulous for making little home decor pieces as well. Little box frames and things would look really good with those, sort of almost like that paper cutout type effect. So really lovely. So that's the stamp set and the die bundle that we're going to be concentrating on. And as I say, we're going to be sneaking some other things in as well. So had some thoughts about what we're going to do. And I have to say that this stamp set, when I first saw it, is very sort of, reminds me of Banksy art. So I thought we'd start by doing something that's a bit sort of, well, we could say tongue-in-cheek that it's a bit off the wall. But actually it's going to be a bit on the wall. Or at least that's the plan. So I'm going to cut a piece of white cardstock so that it's 14.4 by 10. So that's a sort of first mat size on whatever your standard card base is. And we're going to play with this little girl on a swing is my first plan. Now these are red rubber stamps, so as you can see, look, I've not even taken them, not done anything with them at all. So let's first of all back our stamp onto our sticker. So we'll peel off the backing on that and peel off the backing on here, and we will line that up on there and then lift it off. There she is. Oh, just looking for my blocks and realised that I've got a stamp on one that I've been doing another project with, but that's not the one I want anyway. Have I got? Seem to be missing a block. Where has that gone? I'm sure I will find it anon and on. It will be, aha, there it is. So it's not going to be very far away. That's much better. That's the one we wanted. So we've got that on our block just here. And then I'm also going to bring in, now this is a new stamp set. So this is the birds and branches that is going to be in the new annual catalogue. And what I want is the branch. The birds are gorgeous, but on this occasion I want the branch and I want these leaves. So let's take that long branch, bing, and let's take these leaves. Now that comes out as one stamp. That's rather fabulous. So let's find a block for this one. and a block for the leaves. There we go. Okay, let me just grab my Simply Chamois that I've left in the sink. Okay, we're ready to go then. Need to have an inky smudge on my. Seem to have a lot of mucky smudges on there, but that one was particularly inky. So let's get rid of that. And give it a dry. Bit of housework. That's enough for today. Abseiling, yes. Yeah, you could have an abseiling. Absolutely, she could be an abseiling girl. Div, why not? If you want her abseiling, you have her abseiling. As with all of these things, the only limit is your imagination. Right, we're going to start with our tree. So I've got a piece of Wisp White card, and we're going to start with our tree. Now, obviously here we've got a brand new stamps. And actually, I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus because we want these, because they are, having searched out all those blocks, because they are because we want it to be such a solid black colour. Let's get my words right. I think we're going to use the Stamparatus just because that way we can come in for a second bite of the cherry if we're not happy first time round. Right, so I'm going to have this branch. I don't want it straight across. That doesn't look very creative. I want it sort of coming, yeah, about like that, I think. So let's pick that up. And then we're going to use Memento. Now I have a feeling that this is going to be sort of quite a, it's sort of got like a cross-hatchy design on it, so it's not going to be solid black. I could, if I wanted it to be a bit more solid, I could go over it with a marker and just use that outline as an outline, but actually I think that's okay. I quite like that sort of effect of it having been painted on. So let's turn this round and let's lay on our leaves. So where do we want our leaves to go? About like that, I would think. That's sitting on the end of that branch. Those are sitting on the end of that branch. And these ones are sort of nestling around that branch. That looks like about right. Of course, these nice new photopolymer stamps are nice and sticky. They're picking up the card as well. So let's give that a good ink on there. A good press. Again, I think we'll go in a second time just to make it slightly more solid. Fabulous. So that's a nice black image on there. Let's bring in another plate because we need to bring in another stamp now. And now we need our little girl swinging from the tree. Oh, wrong plate. So let's give her a good ink up. Now the fact that it is a photopolymer, is a red rubber one, is a good thing for such a solid image. But we will come in again. There's a hair on there. It's amazing, isn't it, how one little hair can create such an effect. So we'll ink that up again. That's better. That's a beautiful solid black image. Now let's just bring in basic black marker and join the swing up. And then we're going to swing this round again and we're going to put a greeting in down the bottom here, one of those nice sentiments. Let's choose which one we fancy. I think I'm going to have go confidently in the direction of your dreams. That seems very appropriate for a little girl swinging backwards and forwards on her swing. So again, let's take the backing off this stamp. Pick it up, and where would we like that to go? Let's have it going in the right direction. We'll have it coming down there. Now I've swung that mat round, so now we're on the other side. So now obviously if we decided we wanted to make 100 of these, our Stamparatus is lined up, ready to go. Let's give that another So we've stamped all of those twice to make sure that they're really nice and black. Let's move that up. Let's just move this to one side for a moment. Never close down both your plates on your Stamparatus to store it because you might break it. I'm actually going to trim this down another smidge, I think. Ooh. Going to take a little bit off that side and then we'll swing it round and make it 9.5 that side, and then I think we'll come down to 13.9. We'll take that off the top. That's a bit better proportionally wise. Right, so now what I want to do, I started off by saying that these very much remind me of, they're very Banksy-esque. So I think we need to add this to a wall. Or rather, I'm going to add a wall to this. So this is the bricks and mortar embossing folder. One of the things I did think of doing, so in the papers that I had, and I'll find them in a minute, in the new packs of paper, is the ones with all the lovely backgrounds in. So also what I could have done is just chosen one of those and stamped this direct onto some brick effect DSP, which would have equally been quite a nice effect. But I wanted to add in a bit of sponging and things, so let's run this through here. Making sure that we've got the bricks going the right way across the image. So hopefully you can see the bricks now on there. I'm going to take right, just looking round, you can see every set of sponges apart from the ones I want. You really can't be far away. Well, I must be staring at those somewhere, because they won't be very far away. But what I'll do is I'll just take, got some little oddments of sponge in here, and I think the grey granite ink pad. Oh, we have a bee joining us. To be or not to be? So I'm going to take a bit of sponge and the grey granite, and I'm just going to sponge around the edge of here. I'm going to sort of quite softly sponge over the top, because what that does is it does pick out the embossing on the brickwork, so it allows those bricks just to really pop out. And make it far more 3D, and it's a really lovely embossing folder actually, because there really is a question of some of the bricks really do stick out a lot more than others. I'm putting more ink down in some places than others. Particularly around these sorts of corners, just framing it a little bit. So there, can you see how much more those bricks pop now? Let's find ourselves thinking my oddments. It is only oddments now. I don't think I've got a big enough piece of... Aha, I've just found my sponges in with my card oddments. Of course, where else would they be? Right. Let's cut this down. I'll cut it down so it's 13.9 by 9.5. Didn't want to do that, Helen. Oh. Let's find another bit of black card. Let's make it 14 by 10. Sorry, I keep wobbling you. It's because the wire on my microphone got caught around the edge, around the end of my trimmer, which is not good. shall we do about card base? I don't think that wants to be white. No, I think, let's have a look. We've used grey granite sponging. Yeah, I think we'll have a grey granite card base. So let's cut that. So it is 14.9. Let's swing it round. And let's score it with our scoring blade at 10.5 to make our standard card base. There we go. Now, we could have come in and put some blobs on there. Could have done that before we embossed it, so that you'd got sort of like some ink blobs on there if you wanted to. We could have done these in sort of different colours, so they were far more graffiti-ish. We could have done the whole thing multicoloured, so it was far more graffiti-ish. But I quite like that black and white. I like a bit of black and white and grey. And I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I don't think I'm going to add anything else in. I'm going to leave it at that simplicity, with just that sort of idea of a Banksy work of art on a brick wall. Like that. Like how it came out. It's good when something in your head transfers to paper. So, new to me, the silhouette stamp sets, but not new to the catalogue. They've been out all this year, but I grabbed mine, silhouette scenes and the dies that go with it, while I still could. But we've added in something new. We added in the bricks and mortar embossing folder that is also in the current catalogue, but we've added in something new. The birds and branches, this branch and the leaves were just perfect to give this girl something to swing from. I could have used the die, but I wanted it to sort of be embossed in the wall, so it looked like it was actually painted on the wall, the same as the little girl. So that's one. Now for our other card that I've got here for today, we are going to have a white card base for that, but I think I'm going to make it side opening. So we'll cut this at 10.5 and we'll swing it round and we will score it at 14.9 and make a side opening card. I like the side opening ones if they come in this way, just because they sit more solidly on your shelf when you're displaying them, or when your recipient is displaying them. Just move some of these out of the way. And what I have got here is I've got a little bag with some bits that I have gathered up. So we're going to use some of the new ink colours for this. So this is Magenta Madness, and it is mad. What a mad pink that is. And this is Bumblebee. So I've cut a couple of mats already of Magenta Madness and Bumblebee for our background. I've got a piece of white cardstock, and it's a little bit grubby. It's not the nicest bit of cardstock in the world, but that's okay because I'm going to cover that. Because what I thought I'd do, I was busy doing some bits to go out with my catalogues yesterday. And as I was cutting bits up, I was left with a whole load of strips of the in colour DSP. So I thought, you know, we've not done a strippy technique on the Facebook Live yet. So let's use some of this lovely Incomer paper and let's do a bit of a strippy technique. And because it's a nice way to use up your strips of paper. Let's have a look. What have we got here? Let's bring in. So these smaller bits actually would probably be perfect. Oh, they might not be quite long enough actually. Let's go with the slightly longer pieces. So we've got here, as I say, various bits of the patterned paper. Hi Angie. So one side you've got these spots, but the spots, and I don't know, there we go, have got lines in them, so they're like striped spots. And then the other side is almost like this canvasy denim effect. And then you've got this script that says to love what we do and share what we love in various different languages. And then on the other side of that you've got like a wood grain, and obviously you've got that in the 4 colour, but cinnamon cider, magenta madness, misty moonlight, just jade and bumblebee. So those are our 5 colours. And as you can see, I've got strips of both sorts of paper. Now the strippy technique, if you haven't come across it, was invented, for want of a better word. They are the new colouring DSPs, Angie. For want of a better word, was invented by Bruno Petrucci. Bruno and his wife Kylie both run a Stampin' Up business out in Australia. And this was Bruno's brainchild. And I've seen lots and lots of people creating cards with these, but I thought it'd be wonderful with these in colours that are leftovers. So these leftovers from what I was doing yesterday, we could do the Scrappy technique, and then we will bring in some of the silhouette dies. So we haven't forgotten our dies and our stamp set that we started. We're just going to go with something a bit different. Now for the Scrappy technique, you just want to take strips of card, and where these are a bit wonky, I'm just going to level them up a bit. And you just want to cut them into strips, sort of diagonal, on the diagonal, but there's no measuring. There's no, oh, that needs to be cut at that angle or that wide. Nothing like that. You're just literally going to chop them. Let's straighten that one up. Now obviously this mini trimmer is fabulous for this, but you don't have to have a mini trimmer. Any trimmer will do. I'm not going to make that on quite such an angle. So it just is really random. Let's do a pink one, and then we'll see how we go if we need to cut any more. So there I have just a little pile of strips, and I have my base card, and I'm just going to decide which of these I'm going with first. And I'm going to completely cover this card, so you can do it so you have a bit of a border around it, but actually that's very complicated. Throw scrap paper in the bin. I have to say, Karen, there are times when I do have to take myself in hand and say, look, you just can't keep all of this, particularly cardstock. I have to say, I have to go through, I've got bags and bags of cuts off of bits of cardstock, so I do have to take myself in hand with that. But there is lots that you can do. In fact, I did a class beginning last month. We did an online class with using up scraps and strips. So I'm just going to stick that down there. I've got bits sticking either side. Let's go decide what colour we're going to have next. I think we need a different pattern. We'll go with this one. We'll stick that one on next. A bit of bumblebee. here. Then we'll have a bit of, oh, let's have a bit of just jade. And we'll have this wood grain effect. 2, 3, 4, what haven't we had? We haven't had any cinnamon cider. And let's bring this in. We need to make sure we get the words the right way up. We'll add that in that way. Back to the pink, and we'll turn it round and we'll have spotty pink this time. No, let's come that way. And then some blue. So let's have this one that looks like denim. I know, Hannah, throwing scraps in the bin. Ever next. That one coming here. And then we want a bit of bumblebee. And we'll have that as a spotty bumblebee. And I think that's going to take us to the end of that strip of paper. So we're not going to get another cinnamon cider in, but that's okay. So then, having got all of those stuck down and having stuck them to my table, I'm then just going to swing it round and snip off the excess. Now, I've obviously been very, not very frugal with those bits of paper. But they are very gluey. So I really am not. If I'd got another project ready to stick them straight onto, that might be different. Or I could have done I have done in the past, and we did the other day, where you just have a scrap bit of paper to one side and you just randomly stick all your pieces onto a piece of scrap paper, and then when you filled it, you can run it through an embossing folder if you like to give it a bit of texture, and then you can just die cut from it so that you get multicoloured dies. But on this occasion, so there we are, we have a scrappy background, and the way that they're all sort of wonky and different shapes and everything else actually looks like you have spent ages considering and measuring and working out what's going to go where, but you haven't. You've just randomly snipped bits of paper and stuck them on a card base. So there we have. It's rather fun, isn't it? It's rather funky. A nice funky background. Then I thought we'd add in some of these silhouette dandelions. I've cut a couple out. I'm going to cut another one. And I think I'm going to cut out the words that say inspire. So let's cut another dandelion and the word inspire. I'm going to get both of those out of there. I certainly am. Rebuild my big shot where I used my blue plate for embossing. Oh, it's quite a warm day today. They say it's going to get warmer as the week goes on. Right, let's see how these fabulous. Look at that. I have a couple of little doodads. And another dandelion. So let's bring in our brush. And our mat. Give these a little bit of a run over just to get the majority of the bits out before we poke out the remainder. So there's one dandelion. Say I started on these and didn't get didn't get this far. I've cut them but not got as far as getting all the bits out. Oh, there's my little dots gone. There they are. Oh, Karen. The latest update I've had is that they should be with me on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. I've obviously then got to get them labelled, bagged up, addressed, etc. So I will do my best to get them in. Well, it depends when they come tomorrow. I'll do my best to get them in the post. Let's give myself a bit of a break and say by the end of Wednesday, just in case they're late coming. And you never know what's going to turn up. So yeah, so hopefully I'll get those in the post by Wednesday at the latest, and on their way to you, and then it will be down to the postman as to how generous he's feeling as to when they actually hit your letterbox. But it is beautiful. So let's just move these out of the way for a minute. I need to have I got one of my little pots somewhere. Oh, let's reach over and grab one. Otherwise these go walkabouts and we can't find them when we want them. And two bits are most important not to lose are the two dots on those eyes. There they are, sitting in there. That's a bit out in the middle of the dandelion. Right, so let's start to build this up. Might bring my chair in, might sit down on the job. Having one of those days today where nothing is where I expect it to be. Let me grab. Oh, that's not what I want. Let me grab a silicone mat. And let's put a squiggle of glue on there. Now then. Something like that, I think. So let's start with this one. I'm just going to dabble this in my glue, and we'll have that one sticking up here. And let's dabble this one in our glue. And we'll have that one coming round about there, and then we'll have this one and we'll have that one coming. Oh, stuck to my finger now. Dabbled my finger in the glue. No, go back. Just going to move this out the way a moment. Lay that down there. We'll do that, and we'll snip those off there. bring in our Inspire. We'll dabble that in our glue so that it's nice and sticky. Got such sticky fingers. And then let me get my sticky end. It's not actually attached to my thing because I've got my brush in there at the minute. And let's pick up our little dots for our eye. And we've got one there. That's better. That's the side with the glue on. It's amazing what a difference having the little dots on the eyes make. And one just there. That might need a little bit more glue on. It's like Operation, isn't it? Like the game. That's rather fun and funky, isn't it? So I'm going to stick this onto this yellow mat. Then I think we'll use some dimensionals to stick that one to the Magenta Madness mat. This is something else you don't throw away, Karen. Don't throw away the edges of your sticky pad dimensionals either. There's loads there just to cut up and stick on. I've certainly had to rescue those from the bin. We'll stick that on there. And we'll bring in our card base and stick that on there. So there, that's using mainly the dies and some of that in colour paper, leftover strips of in colour paper for a strippy technique. So there's two very different cards. We have one that's very black and white and grey, but with that nice sort of subtle brick wally effect in the background and a bit of sponging. And then we've got one that's a mad use of lots of paper, and obviously you can use all sorts of papers for the Scrappy technique. You can have floral papers, gingham papers, you can do it in plain card, you can do what you like, but that's just highlighting all of those fabulous new in colours, and then that in itself gives a nice background to those nice silhouette dies. I love the font on these. So it's getting incredibly warm in here, whether that's just me having a power surge, but I don't think so. I think it is getting warm in here. So have a lovely day, beginning of another new week, and I'll be back tomorrow, and I suspect the week may be a little bit hybrid. It may be a little bit, let's use some things that are carrying over, but let's just sneak in some lovely new things as well. Well done, Karen. Go and check those scraps. Go getting scrappy with your scrappy bits of paper. And I'll see you all in the morning.